inspiring talk. I would like to invite Undrakh to talk about her work. So I was inspired by what Gulala said, that if you want to destroy society, you start with destroying girls and women. But if you want to build up society, if you want to empower society, then that work starts with girls and women as well. And that's something that our next speaker, Undrakh, has been doing in Mongolia through her Princess Center. And perhaps we'd like to give over the microphone to her now. Undrakh.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon all. I'm Undrakh from Mongolia, and I'm the director of the Princess Center. So I would like to share with you the social work services of the Princess Center, which provides to teenage girls and teenage mothers. Yeah. So firstly, I would like to briefly introduce who's the Princess Center. The full name is the Princess Center for the Protection of Girls and Young Women's Rights. It's a local NGO founded by young women in 2003. It's working almost for 11 years. And Princess is one of the young women-led organizations in Mongolia that works for protecting girls and young women's rights by providing social work services. And it aims to empower girls and young women who deal with complicated problems such as social, psychological, and economic. Princess also focuses on the issues of teenage pregnancy and sexual violence against girls and young women. Since the establishment, we started to work with the teenage mothers who gave birth at their early age, and since 2009, we started to work with provide social work services to victims of sexual violence, because in the statistics it says that 3 to 5% of total teenage mothers are victims of sexual abuse. So that's why there is a big relations between teenage pregnancy and sexual abuse. And my presentation will focus mostly on teenage pregnancy. So statistics of 2012 shows that 4.2 thousand of the total childbearing women were teenage girls aged 15 to 19 years old in 2012. The median age of teenage mothers was 17 years old, and 2.7% of total childbearing girls became a mother in their age of 15 to 17. The birth rate is about 1% among girls aged 15, but rapidly increased to 25% among those at 19 years old. The birth rates are higher in rural areas than in urban teenage girls. The Mongolia is a nomad country, so that's why almost 50% of total population are nomad families, so that's why the teenage pregnancy in rural areas is quite high compared to urban areas. And 70% of all teenage deliveries are unwanted and unplanned pregnancy. This is the information according to the Princess Center survey. As you see from this graph, the teenage pregnancy is on the increase. Especially in 2012, it increased sharply, increased by 1,500 because of high number of births among the women in Mongolia. So we tried to have fun, especially the Princess Center tried to have fun the main reasons on the increase. So there are a few lacks. For example, the lack of comprehensive sexuality education, which is based on rights and evidence among girls especially, and lack of responsible behavior related to sexual health. Through the formal education, the Mongolian government provides sexuality education to the pupils, but the responsible behavior is quite low, I would say. So the next, lack of access to youth-friendly sexual and reproductive health care services, including family planning counseling. from the government especially. So poor legal environment in relation to age of consent. The understanding about the age of consent is quite low in Mongolia. The children, especially teenagers, really don't know what is age of consent. What's the age of 16 or 17 or 18? They really don't know. And lack of parental care and accountability to teenage children. There is no accountability system to parents if their children became, if their girl became pregnant in their teenage age. And the last one is social cultural norms that may exist among groups of male population which enforce coercion of having sexual relationship with young girls. Is teenage pregnancy a social problem? Maybe, as you see from the statistics, it's only, this is the problem of only a few amount of population. Mostly the political people and also some officers, state officers who's responsible in this area, they don't see that this is problem in Mongolian society. They just see this is the only problem of few amount of girls. But we see this is the problem of social of Mongolia. There is increasing amount of teenage pregnancy and childbearing since 1990s. In 2012, teenage birth increased by 1.5 thousand births. There is also increasing number of uneducated people because 63% of total teenage mothers dropped out of secondary schools due to early pregnancy. And there is also increasing amount of unemployed group of population. According to the survey conducted by the Princess Center, 95% of total teenage mothers are not employed. And also increasing amount of people living in a poor condition. 66% of all teenage mothers are girls from vulnerable families. And also there is increasing number of single mothers, young mothers, and half-orphan kids. And 63% of all teenage mothers are single, according to the survey conducted by the Princess Center. What is social attitude to girls in Mongolia? As same as other Asian countries, Mongolia is quite patriarchal country. Yes. There is very famous saying in Mongolia. There are lots of famous saying in Mongolia. For example, I would like to share with you one very famous, very common, still in use saying, which is, if girls are holy, the state will be holy. It says that it just dedicated to girls. If the girls will be very decent or will be very polite, the state also will be very good, and something like that, if you can understand this word directly. Sorry. Yes, okay. According to the such kind of patriarchal tradition or patriarchal custom, the society believes that girls have to be decent, girls have to be silent, and also a perfect mother, a perfect wife, or perfect housewife, not empower girls. So, as a result, as we see that, it is the Princess and to see that as a result of those kind of tradition, the girls become weak, closed, voiceless, powerless, unvalued, self-esteem, and dependent in some kind of. But firstly, we've tried to define who's empowered girl. As princess see that the princess aims to inspire girls to identify themselves as valuable, powerful, confident, and strong young women. So that's why we focus and try to aim teenage mothers more powerful girls in the society. And what do we do to empower girls, especially teenage mothers? Firstly, we find them. They never come to us because of their problems, because of their behavior, or because of their, maybe mostly behave because of their problems, because they became a mother in their early age. Some of them are victims of sexual violence, and most of them are single mothers, and most of them are from the vulnerable families. So that's why they never come to us. So that's why the very first thing is to find where are they. And second one is provide information. We just provide them information about the Princess Center, what we do, what we aim, and also what kind of activities do we provide, organize for teenage mothers and also for young girls. And also, next step is involve them in activities. Just any kind of activity. Firstly, we invite them, and also we organize open discussion amongst the girls, and sometimes we organize community activities amongst girls, especially teenage mothers. So the next step is involve in activities. It doesn't matter they are active or inactive. And next one is encouragement. The continuous encouraging is very essential in the empowerment of teenage mothers. And next one is exploration. Firstly, they are very hidden in themselves. I think so. They're not very open. They really don't talk about their problems. They not believe in, okay. They not believe in us and others as well. So that's why the exploration of self-exploration is very crucial to the empowerment. And next one is service planning, especially it's a professional activity, social work service planning, problem solving, and also overcoming the problems. It continues for more than 1 year, and also ensuring their participation. Keep going is very essential. And what kind of activities do we do in order to empower girls? We implement social work service-based empowerment program for teenage mothers, and the program includes social psychological counseling, social work service, various educational training, for example, life skills training, sexual and reproductive health training, and also the human rights training is very essential to the empowerment of girls and women especially. So next one is vocational skills training. It's more related with the income generation activities. And also it's very important to the status of women. If they see themselves as a professionalist, for example, hairdresser or cook or beautician, their self-esteem will be increased. And also community, we organize different types of community activities. And also in 2012, we established it next to the organization Young Mothers Club, and basic human rights and voluntary activities and other humanitarian activities is very essential. And what do we expect when we implement those kind of activities? According to the theory of individual change, we expect is there any change in behavior of girls, of teenage mothers, and also is there any change in participation, or change in leadership? So, as you see from this graph, since 2003, we started to provide social work services to teenage mothers. And firstly, we didn't see any empowerment of girls. We just focused on the social psychological counseling and also social work service. We just mostly focused on the solving problems. But next, there were more needs in result of providing those kind of services. In 2007, we established childcare services for teenage mothers, for the children of teenage mothers, because the child care is a very difficult problem of teenage mothers. And next, and also we started to provide various educational training, including especially sexual and reproductive health training, and also the income generation activities. We started to involve teenage mothers into different types of vocational skills trainings. And since in 2012, we established it, as mentioned before, Young Mothers Club, and also with the support of Young Mothers Club, we started to organize different types of awareness raising activities. And in 2013, last year, and we initiated to make all these activities as a program, so we called it Empowerment Program for Young Mothers. So there are only 3 steps and of the empowerment service. The first step is the very first thing is to study advantages and disadvantages of target group. And second step is to plan empowerment service. What kind of services would be beneficial for the teenage girls? We should see that one. And third step is to ensure the meaningful participation of target person or target community. It's very essential. Sometimes, mostly we implement 1 year of program, and then sometimes goes after the program they just disappear somewhere else. So that's why the ensuring of minimal participation is quite essential for the empowerment. So of course there were a lot of challenges. For example, the family support is very essential. Especially the family needs to support teenage mothers to take care of their babies, look after their babies, or giving opportunity to develop or to learn something. And the next one is encouragement as well, and also motivation is was difficult to motivate teenage mothers. Is still becoming a problem in society. So, and also economic support. Some teenage mothers from very poor families, so that's why the economic support is very essential, but it's still very difficult for us. And also the last one is child care service. And this is my last slide. And what did we learn on providing social work service and trying to empower the girls? The very first thing is counseling and social work service is not enough for the empowerment. And providing various knowledge, including human rights knowledge, is very essential for the empowerment of girls. And third one is child care. Especially we need to understand as I mentioned before, that we need to understand the advantages and disadvantages of the target group. But the teenage mothers are quite unique compared to other girls, so that they have a child, so that's why they need to pay attention to their kids. So that's why the child care is one of the biggest influencing factor. And also the income, financial capacity is crucial, and some of them are already married and responsible for their family and responsible for their kids, so that's why the family financial issues is very crucial. And creating community of target population is effective, so that's why we initiated to establish Young Mothers Club. They become a group and they run different types of activities. It's also influencing to the empowerment of girls. And the last one is participating in the community or voluntary activities are important. Not just participating in the club activities, they also participate in different types of voluntary activities organized by the different other organizations, for example, other youth organizations or children's organizations. So this is also very crucial, very important for the empowerment of the teenage mothers. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Undrakh, for that very interesting presentation on what the wonderful work she's doing in Mongolia, especially with teenage pregnancies.